The first thing we need for our project today is a yogurt jar. These are these little glass dishes, they're these wee yogurts. I think they're by Yoplait. And the first thing we need to do is remove the labels. To do this, I like to get a razor blade and very carefully lift the corner, lift the edges, and then I'm able to peel it off. And just obviously be very careful with the razor blade. I like to hold my thumb inside so that way my hand's protected if the razor blade slips. Then once you get the stickers pulled off, there'll be a little bit of residue left. So I have this amazing product, I swear by this stuff, called Goo Gone. I'll put a link for it below. It will get the goo right off. You just squirt a little on a paper towel, rub, 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 and it will all come off and your jar will be very clean and ready for our project. The next thing we're going to need is some cardboard to make the brim of the hat. I decided to use this little glass dish that has about a 4-inch diameter to make a nice circle. You of course can go with a bigger object or a smaller object, but that mine is 4 inches just to give you a feel for it. So I traced it out onto the cardboard with the pencil and then used a pair of scissors to cut it out. Now once I got my cardboard pieces cut out, I went ahead and took a little tea light and traced it into the very center, and then I also cut that out. You don't have to do the tea light, but I'm going to show you an idea that uses a tea light and an idea that doesn't use the tea light. So if you are going to use the tea light idea, which you'll see in a moment, then I would recommend cutting out that centerpiece ahead of time before we glue it together. But once we get that centerpiece cut out and we have our cardboard piece ready, I'm going to heat up my glue gun, put some hot glue on the rim of my yogurt jar, and then glue it onto my cardboard circle brim. And when I put it on here, I just try to roughly line it up center. It's a little offset on some of these, but for me personally, it didn't make a big difference. So now we're going to paint them. You have two options with the paint. If you're doing a light method, you're going to want to use acrylic paint and paint the glass jar, the cardboard brim, and the edge of the cardboard so that way we can scrape it off, because acrylic paint doesn't stick very well to glass surfaces, but we're going to use that to our advantage. If you don't want to do the light method, you can use like a chalk paint, and that will stick better and it won't come off and scratch off the glass as easily. So I painted those, let them dry, and now they're ready to decorate. So there's lots of ways you can decorate these. If you're doing the tea light version, you can get a toothpick out and scratch off the paint. So I did a bunch of snowflakes all over mine. It's really simple. It's kind of like one of those scratch art kits, you know, just use the toothpick to scrape it off. I made a bunch of little snowflakes, and you'll need to brush off the paint that you do scratch off, but it's really simple. And if you make a mistake, you just paint over it and let the paint dry and then re-scratch your design. And here's a little quick look at how the light looks inside. It's a little hard to capture on camera, but hopefully that gives you an idea. So this is one that I've decorated fully. I added a red ribbon. I had these little bitty ornaments from Hobby Lobby that I made for holly berries, and I also had some present boxes that I opened up and cut the green foil and made into holly leaves. But you can decorate it however you want with whatever items you get from Hobby Lobby or the dollar store. So here to add the ribbon, I first cut my ribbon to size, making it a little longer than I need to wrap around. Then I'm putting some hot glue on the end and folding it over to almost hem it so that way I have a nice clean edge. Then I'm going to my unhemmed edge and I'm putting a little bit of glue onto my hat, and I'm just going to hot glue that on there. So that's how you can add some ribbon on there. I'm also going to do one where I make these little spirals. So I have these gold twist ties from something that I saved, and so I'm just twisting them around my finger and pulling on them, stretching them out a little bit to make kind of these corkscrew spring kind of looking pieces. I'm hot gluing those on there, and then I also have two more little green ornaments that I'm going to glue on there as well. Just kind of a fun, whimsical, festive hat. So, and again, you can look at the Hobby Lobby or the Dollar Tree for these kind of items. This one I'm taking some gold twist ties and I braided them together, and then I glued this on instead of the red ribbon just for a different look. And I also grabbed some jingle bells and hot glued those all around the rim of my hat so that it's like super cute. Just kind of a different look you can do with this. And then with this one that I didn't cut a hole for the tea light in the bottom, I left the paint on there solid, and I'm going to use some chalk to just draw on there. Now I should have used some actual chalkboard chalk versus like giant sidewalk chalk, because my lettering's a little goofy because it's so big. If you do make a mistake, you can try to brush it off, and you may have success getting it off there. I ended up taking the paint off of mine, but what I did was I just repainted over the surface and then rewrote on there. But here's how these turn out. They're super cute when you put the tea light inside them, and they're super easy to make, and they're made with a lot of materials I was able to recycle and upcycle for this project. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and come back next week for another Tutorial Tuesday. Happy crafting!